So again, yes, it's green, but because it's such a warm green, and because that's such a cool version of the green, this is starting to look, it starts to look yellow. Doesn't look green necessarily. Here's that, we got even more of that cadmium, faux cadmium yellow in it. Let's see, we'll get a bit more of our reflected light right in here. These guys, I'm just going to kind of brush in some midtones here. There can't just be nothing but that dark. That's a little bit too dark right there. Although, I mean, there is a shadow being sort of cast by the hair, so we have to factor that in too. Who knows, might even have to tone down that highlight that's sitting over there because, well, shadow might just have to be a shadow sitting on there. I can't tell, were those wavy patterns already on the miniature? These wavy things are here. That's sculpted in. So those things there are sculpted in. I'm going to try and maybe put some of those patterns in some of these other areas myself. Here, we'll get some cleanup on these guys here. We haven't really messed with this very much. Back into our white again. Because you also don't want your object source, lighting source, to be brighter than the ambient light source. I mean, it's not always, that's not something that's like 100% hard and fast rule. More of a in general type of thing. It's best if it's not lighter than your overall light source. Maybe different if you're doing something like a diorama and you can actually see the light source, and it kind of does make a little bit of sense then. Let me see. I think we're all caught up on the chat. We'll get some lighter stuff going on. Metals here, edges here. These little doodads here. Let's start to get some lighter stuff on these. These are never my favorite things. I think this is another reason why it's kind of, with the 3D printing, it's kind of fun because those, well, don't have mold lines running into them of any kind. I see, oh, we got some more light to add in here too. Good grief. How did that escape our attention? And some more of these little wavy dudes here. More so just thinking of them as reflected light, so I'm going to catch a couple edges of those. We get a couple edges on this too. Now I can either go dark down there or lighter. Purple, maybe not, maybe a lighter turquoise. I don't know, it may not work. Only one way to tell. I mean, it's not like we need a lot there. Just that little bit might be the thing. Yep. Now back to this crazy little brown that we made for the rest of this rope here, her little rope belt. Again, this is a Big Child Creatives bust. Painting this with the oils. I'm not going to be painting anything on that just yet because I may need to rest my finger on that like several times more. I am going to chuck a little bit more of my, where's my titanium white here? Where did you go? There you are. And that's the Williamsburg titanium white. I haven't actually really determined, is there a difference? Is there anything better about that titanium white than just the Winsor Newton titanium white out of the starter set? Let's see. Okay, now I do have. Oh, good grief! Thanks for reminding me, because this is on the YouTube channel, I believe. How the heck did I forget this? So this is a bust that this is one of the first things I did on Twitch. Good grief! Thanks for reminding me, pun expected. I totally forgot about this guy. So yeah, this is on the YouTube channel. Just James Wapple on YouTube. You can watch this one. That was done in acrylics. So yeah, that was pretty fun. That was another bust. I completely forgot about that. I also have, what's the one, the fighter pilot bust. Sadly, I don't have any of their newer stuff because, well, there were some things that were supposed to happen, and obviously everything got kind of interrupted with weird things this year. So hopefully, maybe we can kind of get back in touch with them. Oh, I also did the. Actually, I think it was it was a Patreon video. It was an orc that was done kind of in a 72 mil scale. Now we're starting to catch a couple of our later colors on this. Let's do it here. Yeah, some highlights there. It needed those. What's going to happen along this edge? We haven't messed with this in quite a while. Let's do something. We'll hit the edge here. Let's drop a couple of our highlights into this because this has been waiting for quite a while now. We haven't done anything with that. We're going to go back in here and add another little line of highlights again. Not quite as pronounced as that. We also don't have the extreme dark on the other side of it. Now we're going to come the other direction here. And not necessarily going to be the same on every single one of these panels. You can see it maybe gets a little bit more diminished as we move along. And then it gets diminished here a bit too with a little bit of a blend. So a bunch of different shapes here that it's reflecting maybe different stuff. That's the general idea, the gist of what we're trying to do there. My current project is their Nataku bust. Okay. Yeah, like there was a whole bunch of stuff that was supposed to happen with Chimera and all that sort of stuff, and that's just well, we're doing other stuff. I mean, it is what it is. I wouldn't be doing anywhere near as much stuff with the oils like this. So sometimes you just you have to take the hand that you're dealt with and turn it into a royal flush, even when it's not even a pair of twos. And now there's another situation where we haven't messed with this in quite a while, but we are going to see how we blend it out into this little circumstance here. What are we going to do in this area here? It just can't be quite so dark like that. Let's come back in with our lighter turquoise again. And we'll hit some of these wavy guys here. I certainly wouldn't have a 3D printer. Well, I wouldn't have either 3D printer right now. Now, of course, again, that was born out of, oh my gosh, we can't ship anything anymore. Here, have a 3D printer so that we don't have to ship things. Ah, look at that. See a little bit turquoise dot up there? Look how that changes things. Maybe we even do that over here too, because that can't be quite so dark over there. And then look at this, where what normally would be sort of considered a highlight area, we've actually made that a bit darker, and we're making the so-called shadow area just a bit lighter here. That's to give us that. See how this is reflecting on this, vice versa, that whole thing. I want to just get a little bit of my orange out onto the hair. if we might. It can't be much. It cannot be much. And I might even have to tone this down some more later on. I don't know. Don't know. But in any case, I think we need some down here too. So let's do that. Yeah. Just gonna throw some. Look at that. See how that's actually kind of sticking there? If I had done that in the early stages, not a chance. Let's see. I really want to get into it, but I think the technology isn't quite where it needs to be. Oh, definitely Spectrum. Basically, you're aware. I kind of was. I was just waiting. I said, you know what? Let's wait for this to become a heck of a lot easier to use. Unfortunately, there was no more waiting. It was just doing. Now, the one positive thing is that, well, now I know if I know how to use the more difficult to use stuff, the easier to use stuff will just be so. It'll just be like no problem at all to learn that. So, just like when I first was doing computer graphics, there was no such thing as a mouse, there was no such thing as a hard drive, there was a floppy disk. And you had to do X coordinate, Y coordinate to draw a green line across the screen. That was what computer graphics were at that time. And what I do and what I just take for granted in Photoshop now is, oh my gosh, unbelievable by comparison. And I can only imagine that, well, actually, like we were talking about that 3D scanning, right? Where I want to be able to sculpt that bust of Jakar and Londo, and see, we're just adding some more lights here. The one Aya went, and just be able to scan those and print and just have them for myself so that I can try them in different colors, different mediums. Going to start to get some lighter colors now on the face. We haven't messed with this in a while. Kind of intentional. Wanted to let that paint have a nice, good long time to sit in the proving drawer, so to speak. I am going to get a couple of little highlights there across the hair in front of her face. I want to get some lights on her upper lip here, if I can. It's always kind of a danger on these larger ones there. That can sometimes just get to be too bright. Because it is so much larger, like on a normal miniature, you almost can't see that. It's not there. And there will be things that do happen to you. I just, one of the reasons I didn't do some late night streams during the week is because the printer was just acting up on me. And sometimes that just happens. Now here we're going to carry this light, and then we're going to go back with some dark. We are going to take some of our umber here. We'll mix it with some of that ivory black, and we're just going to, we don't want an old solid line. What I'm looking to do is just in this area here, looking to do a nice dark line right in that one spot. And we're going to do that here. It just can't be outlining. I mean, there's kind of be no point to using oils if all you're just going to do is kind of outline things and not take advantage of all that color mixing. I am going to get a little bit of a dark over here. Same over here. I'm going to take some of my purple here because it is, I mean, it has that same property as the indigo. Look at how nice and dark that is right there. Let me see. Normal paper printers are still extra. Yeah, definitely. Do we want to get some more? Ah, yes. Yep, we are going to get back into our purple here, and let's really go. Let's go for some darks in here. We got a lot of middle tones and some light. We don't have any really deep, rich darks in here. And I know it was a conversation at one point in a previous session, that notion that you can't work light to dark with oils, just like I used to think with pastels. And I've definitely found out that is not the case. You can most definitely, look at this. I know we certainly did that on the gigantic creature caster, dude. Look at how nice, look at this rich, deep dark we're getting here. It's just reinvigorating that whole area. Heck, I don't even go back to my larger blending brush, and we're really got, look at that. Very excited about that because now it makes this area look that much lighter. So take our blending brush once more, and we'll just go, look at that. Place the paint, push the paint, that's what we did. I can see an area there that never even got its initial little touch of color. Let's get some more darks in here, just to do something in these folds. Something in those folds, make those a little more dramatic. And for sure here, we must restore some darks. If you want to have light, you got to have dark. And look at how, I mean, that is dry. There's no, we didn't put any kind of liquid into that. And we haven't really messed with this color out here in quite a while. So that is why we're not removing paint here. That's why we're adding paint, and it stays there. We place that. We'll get our blending brush again. Once more. Look at that nice little blend right there. Oh, yeah, okay, was the printer chatting there. We have our purples. I'm going to really try and get as much of that out of there as I can, because I want to do a little bit of blending on the face here. So we have this kind of a line here. I want to see if I can scumble. Look at that. So not a line anymore. This is also that kind of a bit where we sort of buff the paint. So it's not so much about blending the color, we're just sort of getting rid of some of the brush strokes. That's what we're doing right in here, is kind of getting rid of some of the brush strokes. We can do that here too on the armor. Look at that. And now we're going to leave this stuff back here. We messed around with it. Now we have to leave it. Oh, and this is another thing too. So we're gonna grab some of our cerulean here. Take some of our white. Let's see if we can just kind of get a different color light here on that sleeve. So again, this has to be drier. As dry as we can make it. Just to get less purple in that. More of the blue, less of the purple. Because it's neat to have that purple right there, but if we want that moonlight type of effect, see that? Guess what? We're also going to start to do something out here. Something out here. And that's just sort of taking the form of kind of like our moonlight color. And we're just brushing it over the top here, and then we're going to take our blending brush and move that together. As you do. Now, there is a brush that I'm looking for here. I'm just going to see if I can't find it, because it went on the floor somewhere. It just kind of flew off somewhere with all of the other brushes, mostly ones that I didn't care about. So what I'm going to do is introduce you to a new, let's try a new quad 0 here. I've got a whole bunch of these guys. Is that it? Yeah, here we go. So let's see how this one is out of the package. Seems to be okay. Now we've got our little wavy texture here, right? I don't know. I'm going to play around on this and see if I can make that texture on here now. How does that go? Okay. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'll do it dark first. So I'm going to take indigo, mix it with my ivory here, ivory black. It's got to be thinned down though so that it flows. Just going to blend that with my finger. See if we can. It'll sort of be like Damascus steel in a way. It's just going to be a little design here on this. So it's going to take a while to figure out. So it goes like this. Looks like there are 3 lines. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. There's a 4th one here. Okay. How the heck does this go? Oh, okay, it goes up like this. And then it kind of, okay, it's like, there's sort of offset patterns here. This is, so we've got our 3 lines that go like this. Then we have something that kind of works like this, I guess. Now I'm going to just go back in with the lighter color here. I'm just kind of figuring out what the heck this pattern is made out of here. I haven't quite been able to tell yet. And if I don't like it, the nice thing is I can always just wipe it away. It's kind of interesting just like that. And then how the heck, oh, okay, so it's really weird how this pattern builds. And we've got one that just it goes over the top like this, and then meets down here. And then we have another pattern that comes over the top and goes like that. I don't know. Again, if I don't like this pattern, it'll take 2 seconds to just wipe the whole darn thing away. Now I'm going to have it go for like so. And this is again the quad zeros. They are a handy brush, I gotta say. Maybe we do something a little bit lighter, perhaps. No, let's take our moonlight color here. If we're gonna do any kind of a highlight on this, let's do it in that moonlight color. And we'll just pick out a couple of areas of it. Not that we don't want to outline the whole darn thing. Means going over this too. Or if I don't like it, I just do that and it's gone. I'm just going to do my own pattern, I think, and not try and replicate theirs. Let's see. So, Jim, I think you're using some convenience colors. Why do you prefer them over mixing? I'm not. You'll have to kind of rephrase that a little bit, if you don't mind, because yeah, I don't quite, not quite sure what actually you're asking there, unfortunately. If you refer to like the Terra Rosa and the stuff like the indigo, those are just colors that they can be all things, whereas some colors like your Thalos and other those are just so specialized. The Terra Rosa of the world, the indigos, and now I'm finding the violet. Those can just do so much more. And see, I like this way better. Way more interested in what I'm doing here than what I was seeing before. Yeah. I like that way better now. I might go back up into the armor too and get some lighter stuff happening. So this to me is more interesting than what I was trying to do before, just trying to struggle with their crazy pattern. And there's never, as you know, there's never one thing that I do all of the time. I do some of the things all the time, and I do all of the things some of the time. But all kidding aside, sometimes it just depends on the miniature, the situation. It really does. This is going to be way more fun to come back and add some of that, oh, what shall we say, that bluish light. Yeah, that's going to be way more fun doing that. Once again, we saw the utility of the oils, right? Where I didn't like this at all. I was not real thrilled with what was happening. So I got rid of it. It was gone, and I could kind of get a bit of a fresh start there. It also took away some of the excess paint, which, better yet, getting rid of some of the excess paint. I mean, so much handier not having all that paint. Like here, okay, I don't like what I did there. That goes away. And we kind of go back to more what yeah, it's just a better pattern right there. And now we'll do this again. Let's see what we've got going on here out on the end of our scabbard here. I think we'll have it go this way now. And as always with these Cotmans here, with your synthetics, you see how I can approach this from all kinds of crazy, wacky angles, and it has no problem tracking those angles. It doesn't deform. Now, if I was using a sable brush, you would have, like here, see how it keeps its shape? It doesn't collapse or anything. That, if that was a sable brush, it would want to just kind of collapse there. It would be more like Chinese calligraphy, which I have tried. It is actually a lot of fun. Well, I mean, I like calligraphy of any type, but yeah, those brushes kind of almost act a little bit more like Chinese calligraphy. See how that, look at how that just, it keeps its point, but it's also not kind of moving from one side to the other. It just kind of stays straight. Of course, now it means I can't be sticking my finger on this anymore. So that's going to be fun. Let me see. Sky King asks, what brand of brushes? So they're Winsor Newton, and it's Cotman. These have been around a long time. I mean, I remember us going to the art store in 2000, like 20 years ago, desperately trying to find these. I just get them on Dick Blick right now. And again, this should be now on the Dick Blick price is I don't know, $2.30 maybe ish, something like that. Whereas these are more like $4.21. Whereas your typical Winsor Newton Series 7 is going to be 13, 14-ish dollars, somewhere in there. I'm so much happier with this. You see, it took a couple of tries, and I got something that I'm real happy with, that I can live with. What I had to start with was not what I liked. Did not like it at all. And there may be parts of this that I change again. I don't know. All right, let's just get out to the end of this guy here. Obviously, we would have the other side to do. But for now, we're just going to try and finish off the end of this. Couple of quick strokes on the end. Boom, good enough. Hey, look at this, folks. We got a Thunderdome. We got ourselves a Drew. The sword sheath is coming along incredible. Oh, thanks so much. This thing here, I think I had 2 tries at it. I went nope and wiped it away, which was perfect because it actually had less paint there. So, folks, definitely give Drew a follow there. Now, Drew, did you finish off all of those box art pieces so that you can get back to your King of Malefica? And you're doing not the Ascendant version. Which version of the King are you doing? I can't remember the name of it. So if you can help me out, if you can bail me out there, that would be great. Oh, thanks for the link. So there you go. Hobby Lobby. And Dick Blick again, the Cotmans are going to be in that neighborhood of $2 and something cents a piece. And as Lady B can attest to, they will dog ear like almost immediately. But when you know that's going to happen and you count on it, they actually become a very handy brush. So you can count on them dog earing pretty quickly. Now, well, it depends on how much you use them. If you use them like us, where they're getting used for hours and hours and hours at a time, well, it's going to happen faster too. But see, we're going to do a little bit of getting some extra colors in there. Got the Queen done and 2 of the 3 dragons done. Now, I know there was one you were looking to shift the colors on a little bit. Was that one of the ones you still got to do yet? And folks, also, it's Etsy. It's time to do an Etsy search for war grips. You need to keep Drew busy. He has not enough time to do anything, so you need to keep him more busy making war grips. And basically keep him up 30 hours a day. And hopefully all of the other medical situations and stuff are improving as well, so that you actually do have more time to focus on the war grips. Look at this. Couple more, and we can do a couple of lighter doodads there, but first, before I do those, let's go over here. Let's just take a little teeny bit of our orange. Boy, we haven't touched this orange literally since we started about 3 hours ago. Now, I still think I'm going to shift that Sky Dragon and ditch the red. Okay. And I guess that's just one of the things. I try to emphasize it as often as I can. You know what? Sometimes the original thought you had because of the miniature or something along that lines, it doesn't work the way you hoped it would. And it's okay to change that a little bit. Go in a different direction. I mean, we certainly did that here. And I am so freaking glad that I just took my finger and wiped it away. Now, if I did that now, I'd be a little less pleased with that. It certainly is more interesting than that, because that's what we had, and well, now we got this, and I'm thinking that is way more fun. So what are we going to do? We're going to take a little bit of this here, a little bit of this here. Let's find ourselves that, I don't know, is it a moonlight color? I don't know. It's a very light, sort of a sky blue-ish. I'm just looking for a couple of spots on here. Not too many. Not too many. This is the kind of pattern that I actually would like to put on this purple over here. Is that going to work? The heck if I know. But hey, if it don't work over here, we'll do the same thing we did on this scabbard here. Theory says it works, but I just don't like the vibe. So it's going to push more gray and shadow brown. Okay. Now this is, I think on the end, oh, this is where we should do it. This is where we're going to get some of these. Like the end of this is catching that light. Let's do a couple more of these. Yeah, there is, what is that? Well, there's Theory Hammer, and then there's Warhammer. And you can have all the theories in the world, and if you just roll nothing but ones and twos, yeah, you can have all the theories you want. And if your opponent rolls nothing but sixes, yeah, so much for your grand theories. They're just as toast. That's, ooh, I'm going to do some more of that. That's kind of fun. Yeah. Ooh, back to our, and this also has a little bit of liquid in there to make sure that it flows. Yeah, I mean, just a slight amount of liquid in it. Catch the top of this again. And it looks white on here. It ain't white. It's just because everything around it, we successfully created plenty of darks there to operate with. And look at this. Now this looks like a shadow here. This looks like a light. So we're trying to somehow create this off-camera light up here and a freaking off-camera light over here. So we're trying to, we got all these freaking off-camera light sources freaking everywhere. See what we can do with it. They're just all over the place. I'm tempted, so, ooh, actually I'm kind of tempted to put a little bit of a, like an actual painted in shadow there on her face. If there was more of a intense light source from this angle, maybe I'd do that, but I'm thinking I won't do that. Let's see. Well, a well-lit hobby room is a happy hobby room. I just remember last night that the dog doing the barking thing and not succeeding, being super scary because, well, half of him was still on the couch. Like the front half of him was standing on the floor. The other half of him is still on the couch. He's like, yeah, I'm all scary, but I don't know. I'm still on the couch. I think a touch of our light there. What's going to happen with our red there? Still not sure about that. I am going to use this guy maybe as a blending brush. So in lieu of paper towels, actually chamois sponges aren't the worst thing in the world. I use these for my wet palette anyways, so I think it is time. Maybe we shall do a little bit of blending over here. We're going to scumble those together. We got some stuff going on up in the hair. Not trying to, some of these little extra highlights that I added, they end a little bit on the abrupt side, so we're going to try and pull those out. Yep. That doesn't hurt. And now let's get the nose extended. It was like there was a bunch of light here on the end, and then there was like nothing in the middle there. Still tempted to add some more things in here. Oh, this is what we're going to take our phthalo blue here. You know what? Before we go back in with lights, we're going to take our phthalo blue and we're going to see what we can do. We got our brand new little tiny brush. Let's see what we can do with our pin line washes here. Ah, that's it. I'm just looking to shift this color a bit. Now, it would be really fun to be able to just kind of glaze this like if this paint was dry, but it ain't dry, which means we have to take that pin line wash type of glaze. Let's say Atticus has a big bark, but he knows when I'm there, it's not really worth the effort. And Pixel Cat in the house. Let's say I'm looking at the Cotman brushes on Dick Blick. I just get the rounds. The designer's rounds, those maybe have longer handles or something. But I've never gotten designer's round. I've never actually heard of that before. And the rounds, they have served us well for years and years and years. Ah, this is another area we need some reflected light. And instead of making that more of a teal, what we're going to do, see what happens with just some straight up phthalo blue here. Let's darken that down a bit. I'm looking for a little reflected light in this area here. A nice old gentle brush stroke. We haven't messed with this quite literally since we first started painting this. This is a quest for a little bit of, again, reflected light that is something different than this more yellowish teal over here. And it's also, it's kind of fascinating because this is also a much more pure color. Much more pure than what we did over here. Okay, that is that's a nice little addition there. I say I'm gonna get me some phthalo blue into my golds. Yes, I am. I can do that. Just did. In some ways, we're taking this, reflecting it in here. Let's get some of that. We're gonna thin it down. See what happens. Let me pop that right into here. Yep. A little touch right there. I'm going to see what we can do here with our phthalo blue in the hair. I do like that sort of a pinkish color right there. Aha. Yep. Let's get that on the top of this ponytail here too. There. Right. Oh, let's see. Cool. Shall stick with the round. Yeah, I'll look at that designer's round Pixel Cat and see, is there any real difference? Or what the heck does this mean? Who knows? I probably have looked at it a bunch of times and just completely ignored it. That's also possible. Well, it's just like the with those sable brushes. It's a darn good thing I looked, because I was about to buy handles that were 14 feet long. I mean, I literally could have used them to pole vault. And fortunately, I just took another little look and I went, yeah, I don't need to be paying all this extra money for something that I'm just going to saw off, like a freaking sawed-off shotgun or something. Now, I don't know where that brush went. Oh, yeah. So this brush right here was almost twice as long. I mean, there was literally like a whole nother brush on the end of this brush. Now, I understand why that's done, because I've had oil painting brushes that are like that. They are less helpful for miniature painting, especially when within 3 inches of this miniature are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights, a magnifier light, a camera. Yeah, that's a little too close for comfort there. I am going to let a little bit of this phthalo blue hit here. If it's going to be here, it darn well better be over here too. It's like, okay, so how come that scabbard mysteriously gets all these brighter blue highlights and the top of this ponytail here that's sort of in the same kind of color scheme doesn't get any of those? Is there like a magical anti-blue highlight force field that's on the top of her head that's making that not happen? So good enough there. And perhaps, just like we reflected that light, maybe we get, oh, this could be fun. Let's do this. Let's do something like this. Where's our, there we go. Let's see what happens with this now. Where's my blending brush? Mr. Blending Brush, here you are. Do your job. Scumble away. Mix that. Let's give her jawline just a little touch of that. It's almost like we're kind of giving a little bit of a moonlight reflection. Let's get this little tendon right here. Now we are, again, we could potentially do some kind of dragony tattoo thing there at some point, maybe. Okay. I'm just looking at the top of the hair. Oh, here's an area. Now look at this. I will take, we've got our blue going here. This is something that, wow, speaking of an area that hasn't been painted or touched since like the very beginning, we don't even need the blending brush here. We're just going to scumble that right out. Again, it's carrying that chain of lights. It's like it's Christmas time. We got that chain of lights. Speaking of lights, we'll catch some on the end of these guys. We're a little deficient in some lights over here too. That's more like it. Sometimes you just look at these things and you go, oh wait, how come there's nothing over here? And then we add something over there, and then we add a little bit more over there. Yeah, and this is one of those new Cotmans, brand new Quad Zero. We broke it out just for this bust right here. I could see them definitely being longer for sure. And like I said, for traditional oil painting and for watercolors and such, we were all about the longer brushes. We didn't want little short brushes like this.
So say we all. So say we all.
Thank you so much. Oh, we have Skunk Seether. Sorry if I missed you there, Skunk Seether, if you're still in the house. But we got Roy Experience doing the sub thing. Thank you so much. It is appreciated. And folks, as I mentioned before, like all of those, the Williamsburg oils, actually probably half the paints that I'm using here right now on this bust, basically funds from things like the cheering, the bits, the subs, and all that kind of stuff. That is where those funds go to, is for getting more stuff to experiment with, like those not watercolor board, those illustration boards I was telling you about, where I wanted to be able to show how to do some swatches with the oils to kind of get used to the transparency, the opacity, seeing that the influence one oil paint color can have on another. We're seeing it here. You sure as heck saw it on that Creature Caster one. Oh, and by the way, it also looks like maybe the week, the week leading into ReaperCon, I might be painting the other part of the other creature caster demon there. What's the other one? One is Ascendant. I can never remember what the heck the other one is. I mean, my memory was gone when I was freaking 13.
Spark my ganja.
Thank you for the follow, Rosie Toe. Speaking of hobbits, was it Rosie Cotton? Was that the name of the particular hobbit that Sam had some interest in? If I seem to remember that correctly. It's the King Resplendent. Okay. Oh, thank you, Armored Wolf, for that. It's really appreciated. It has made a massive difference. I wasn't sure what the heck to expect from Twitch at all. And the generosity of everybody has been amazing, and the support. You know what? I'm going to let that get even darker. Yep. Even darker. Might that change? It might. It was Rosie Cotton. Okay. Now that's the interesting thing. We're talking about those lore videos that kind of go into, and a lot of them, and I really like them because they say, okay, what was Gimli doing before the War of the Ring? What did Gimli do after the Lord of the Ring? What was Legolas doing before the War of the Ring? The last one that I saw, it was all about Sauron or Saruman. Yeah, there's another one that's about the Witch King, and what was he doing? What was Arda before the breaking of the and what Buriland or whatever it was? That whole huge part of the thing fell into the sea. And why did that happen? And the notion of how many Balrogs were there? Were there really hundreds of them, or were there just like 7? Okay, well, I feel like just getting some of this lighter purple in here, even if we do this pattern on here, which I'm still not 100% sold on doing that just yet. It might be a little too much. There's so much going on here. Could be just too much. Actually, who knows? Maybe this is the design that we put up here. Let's go back over here and let's do... See, we got a bunch of lights. I think we could use a touch of either dark or mid-tone. What do we... Oh, Terra Rosa. Oh, and Brown Matter. Jeez Louise. Now, Brown Matter, as much as I love that color, you got to remember, and I have to remember, it's a color that dries. Let's see, they're working on a Tiri Sky King. Yep, that is, I guess it's going to be all, from what I've heard, it's going to be set on the island of Numenor. Now, they haven't said if that's like the island of Numenor with Sauron brought back as a prisoner or not. Unless maybe they have. The last thing that I had heard, it was just they just assumed it was going to be focused on the island of Numenor. You know what? I like the idea of getting... Oh, look at that. So look at that brown matter. That is just such a freaking amazing color. Look at this. Look at what that does. Look at what that's going to do. But it will dry on your palette. That is why that one horse that I did that was mostly brown matter, that horse was dry by the end of the painting session. Which is just cool. It's just, I got to remember that and be aware of it. Oh, that's right. We were going to do some freehand on this thing. That's it. Do we want to do purple here? Turquoise, purple, turquoise. It's going to have to be purple, I think. Well, maybe it has to be. We got to put something over here. Is it going to be that same purple? The sash would probably be different. Oh, what the heck. Do you want to live forever? Let's go dry here now. Let's get some of our white out here. And look at how dry this is. Again, very dry. Numbskull got lost trying to read the Silmarillion, that's why I love these videos, because they kind of read all that for you, and then they just say, okay, here's what they were trying to say. And it also presents the information in a more visual way, which is fantastic. Yeah, you know what? That ain't so horrible. How long did that take? That little change. That didn't take so long. Let's make it a little lighter now. Okay. There we are. You know what? So instead of that pattern, let's see if we can just do some mums over here in our turquoise, which means we're going to need a wee bit more of our phthalo blue and our cadmium green to mix together here. As you do, maybe even a little bit more of that blue. I think there's going to be a little bit too much green in that. Let's get a little cerulean in this just to make sure it doesn't get too green. So again, phthalo blue on its own, but phthalo blue with some kind of a lighter color can be very handy. So Lim says a 7. That looks like fun. Finally bit the bullet and bought the Creature Caster King and Queen of Ruin. Hey, look at this. Dr. Feedgood in the house. How are you doing? The little chrysanthemum that we can maybe make. How big do we want to make these? How big do we want to make these? I'm just going to have that here, and then we shall. And it's got to be a 5. So we got our second piece. Let's do 3 more. 3, 4, and 5. And then you sort of give them these little bit of a corner edge. You see that right there? And we'll see how close together we want these to be. I'm just going to do one over here now. I think it'll be a little bit easier for you to see too. And we've got to have 5. There's our third. There's a 4th. And number 5. And then we just kind of, look at this. So we make those a little bit pointy. If that looks familiar at all to some of you, well, again, this is the newest video here that we did. So we were doing the same thing there, a little bit smaller on this one. Let's see, I was watching your Queen vid. I like the size of the kit and how you were painting it. That was, yep, that Queen of Ruin is very spectacular. Oh, thanks, Dr. Feedgood. So, yep, folks, you definitely have to check out what Drew did with that Queen of Ruin. But the brocade pattern and all of the gross things. Now here, we're just going to give the impression of the little flowers happening. And these are pretty dark. These are intentionally very dark. So look at this. We're just going to do a couple parts of it. And then kind of give it the notion that it has gone down into that fold. It's very important. Oh, shall we do one right over here? First thing we got to do is we place these, and then we modify the edges of them. And I don't mind if that disappears into the purple, because it sort of tones them down by itself. You don't have to go back in and glaze over the top or something like that. Here's another one that's going to be buried inside of a fold. We're just going to do this part of it, this little part of it, one here, and that's it. We just kind of give it the suggestion that it's down into that fold there. Oh, actually, I see we need some gold over here. While we're thinking about it, before I forget, let's take some of this ochre. I know it's blocked by the hair. You can't really see it. Do some blending of this now. Alright, that's a little better. Yeah, there was all of a sudden I looked like we got a hole. We have a hole. We got nothing going on over there. Let's not have that. This needs to be a touch more liquid. Let's do another one of our flowers over here. Then we got to see where we can put these on the front of the character here, of our bust. So we leave these. Let's get one more. This one's going to be right at the borderline of where our object source lighting is. I know that's kind of hidden for you guys. We're still going to try and throw it in here anyways. Nice thing is, if I don't like any of these, or if the shape is messed up, as always, we just wipe it away. Very much like what we did with this pattern here on the sword scabbard. Now we got ourselves a nice little open area to put one, like an easy to paint one. Then the rest of them will have to be obscured or distorted in some way. Another reason why this type of brush, the synthetic brush, is super handy for this. Again, if I was using a sable brush, that would just keep deforming all the time. Whereas this brush, it stays in the same shape as when I approach the miniature. Let's see. Okay, I think we're caught up with the chat. We'll do a couple of our more. Oh, let's have one just sitting right here on the. Instead of putting one way out here, look at this. We're gonna try and get one that kind of starts out from underneath that piece of armor there, and then we'll have one down here. I have to figure out what other color we might make the center of those. Maybe a yellow. That might be a plan. That could be a plan. Let's do that with some of our faux cadmium here. And some of this yellow. So we'll just mix this up here, thin that baby down. I'm just thinking, yeah, some of that stuff on the palette, it's already dry. It's only 3 hours, 40 minutes in. Somehow I thought we'd been at this longer. But it ain't even been 4 hours yet. It's like we're just getting started. See what we like over here. We got ourselves some cheering and some bitses. We got it from Dr. Feedgood. Thank you so much. That is appreciated. That's just the right. Yes, I'm glad I did that. Here, let's have Wapelius do a little bit of a happy dance right here. And then she says, "What did I just tell you about that?" Fine. It goes away. So we'll have to do a couple of these flowers over here, but man, they're going to have to be distorted like crazy. We got a couple of centers to do on these flowers. Boom. Boom. Oh, look at this one over here. that one there. Let's go back now. Do some more. And this is that balance. It can't be too liquid. It can't be too dry. If it's too liquid, it's just going to be like a panel line wash and just kind of run off or wash away the paint that you got there. Basically, one of several bad things. I also have to go back and get fresh paint. Sometimes when you're doing the freehand, you actually have to do that even more often. Oh, let's see. Roy Experience. I just finished watching Bolt the King of Malefica. It's brutal, isn't it? And by the way, yes, more mouths were found, more teeth were found, more eyeballs were found. So that kind of gives you, as big as this is, look at this monstrosity here. He's like, yo, what's up? How's it going? And just think, we have another one of these to do, only more complex, because as Drew will tell you, there's like 3 or 4 wings on there. There's all these books, there's demons. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting, to say the least. Uh-huh. Now this one's got to be in shadow here, so I don't mind this being nice and dark back here. So we still got to get 2 more petals on this flower somehow. And that's where we kind of distort things. There we are. Let's just get ourselves a couple of petals there. And a few petals over here. This one, not going to do that. We're just going to say that the firelight has taken over. We'll get ourselves just a couple of petals over here. It's not like a whole flower, just a couple of petals. That's it. That's all. 3 times the eyes. Oh my goodness. Oh, and the crotch. What did we call it? We called it the crotch duster, I think. That's what we were calling that thing. And yeah, at least you won't be bored. So how many books are there's like 4 or 5 of those books that the demons are sort of floating around and walking around with those things? Because at least that's what I noticed on that. It's going to be interesting, folks. Now, also, that's going to be a different color scheme, just so people know, because they wanted it to look as much like their concept art as possible. They do have concept art of that one, so you will be seeing some different colors on that than you did on this one. Oh, look at this. We got Monument in the house. Oh, and thanks again, Dr. Feegood, for the cheer and the bits and the cheers as we welcome in our raiders. And folks, if you're not, well, I'm sure you're already all following Slowfoo's Monument there. So, Jason, how did it go? Actually, what have you been painting, Jason? Because I keep missing your streams because I'm either filming or doing whatever. So you gotta let me know what you are working on. Let's see. Dr. Feegood asks, using the Winsor Newton oils or have the Williamsburg. Ah, look at this. So we do have a new color here, Feegood. We have been using this, and that's sitting right over here on the palette. And that actually played a part. This is the first. We did a session with this last night, and we were using that same Williamsburg one. Obviously, we've been using the purple too. Oh, let's see. Go file. Yes, sirree. Yeah, well, you know, you don't dance for me the way you used to. You don't shake it. You gotta shake it like it. You gotta shake it and bake it. If there ain't no shaking, there ain't no bacon. Just yeah, imagine that. Oof. Ah, look at this neat magenta color over here. Now I know you had some of the Primaris that you were doing. Are you still hitting that Primaris project? Uh-oh, yeah. Now see, the advantage of having no face cam or something like that is that I can wear my air leotard anytime I choose, which means, you know, if it's a little bit warm in the studio or something like that, well, if he shakes it like a Polaroid picture, you never know what might develop. Something could develop. It would be instant. Now, I've got this crazy little magenta color here that we're just going to work into the skin tone over here. That's where we're doing a little bit of scumbling right there. Before we take Mr. Blending Brush again. Let's see. You're on Blood Angels now. Now, is it just Primaris, or are you doing vehicles too? Or I guess I should say, is it just infantry, and are you adding vehicles to the mix? Eventually, I'll get my brain doing that right. Where's my yellow that I was... Oh, that's over here. I knew it was somewhere. We got some flowers. We need to get the center... yes, here they are. Let's get the centers of these guys. The centers of those little Tootsie Rolls. Again, the ones that are being distorted and everything, we just leave those go. Let's see, Dr. Free, I like the yellow pails. Grab some of the Windsor Newton Naples yellow. See, that was another one that I kept seeing that and thinking, oh, that one could be interesting. Here, let's again, I'm still waiting for these to go back in stock because I'd love to have some more of these guys. Now, this has been curing for just a little while. Here, let's take this and let's just smooth some things out here. We're not wiping this pattern out. We're just kind of smoothing out some of our brush strokes. And we're going to do some of that right here. So we got like a bunch of blobs right here. We got to do something with those blobs. Now, see, these are just showing folk recipes for basic chapter dudes. I'm doing the vehicles in our studio army, though. Okay. Now, are you guys going to be doing a filming of any battle reports? Because it's something I'm hoping to be able to do, or at least live stream. I was hoping to be able to live stream some battle reports at some point. I just need to get like a 200-foot long internet cable and drill through the floor. You know, minor details. Let's see. These are just showing full. Okay, I think we're caught up on that. Now we are gonna get. See, this got kind of a lighter teal going on over here. Let's hit some of this right here. It's only a couple of the petals. We also had to make sure these guys were sitting here for a little while because with the oils you gotta let that paint have just some time. We call it the proving drawer. Paul Hollywood says keep that in the proving drawer. We'll make this one a little. See, we can look at how we can manipulate the edge of that. But not that one down there. We're just going to do these two up on the top. We need to do some of this over here. Let's get this flower right over here. Those three petals, not these other two. And you see how we gave them that kind of a sharper edge on them there? Same thing. Let's see. All right. Okay, I think we're all caught up. Now, is it a kill team starting that you're going with, and then expanding from there?
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Thank you, Keg Slinger, for the follow. That is appreciated. You know what? Let's do yeah, a couple lighter dings on that. And are we going to take this pattern And are we going to put it on here? Maybe, maybe not. But we do gotta have something on this side here. So again, let's just
Hello,
clean
little
this up
hobbits.
here.
Spark my ganja.
Thank you, Push Motive, for the follow. Gandalf appreciates it too. Now, let's see. It's been a little while. Can we take this pattern here and can we get that over here? Let's see. First of all, let's just carry some of our pattern over here. Just let's do a couple of marks so that that sort of lines up. Okay. It was a series of 4 lines. There are 4 lines. How many lines do you see? There are 5 lines. Nope, there are 4 lines. Let's do these. We're using that same Cotman because what does it let us do? I can have kind of a weird angle that I'm holding the brush. However, look where I'm holding the brush. Am I doing this? Brush is way the heck back here. Caress the brush. Don't crush the brush. And we're going to mark our next little 4 lines over here. There are 4 lines. Let's do our adjoining lines right over here. And this is all wet oil paint over wet oil paint. Fortunately, since oils are thinner than water, it does really make the tiny details a whole lot easier. There we go. We're going to go up this way and then hopefully, and I say hopefully, the idea is we can go there. Finish that off there. So this is how we built our pattern over on this side, building it up over here. Oh, thanks. Let's see. Oh, Jim with the next gen. Well, here we'll show you now. Back in the day when I was doing 2D art, now you've seen, a lot of folks have seen these before, so this is watercolor on watercolor board, but there we go. This was my favorite show. This was Babylon 5, show of shows, Londo and Jakar, the great ones right there. Yes, indeed. I still have to sculpt busts of these guys. I mean, even if I just never get the chance to scan them and make some more for myself to practice on, I gotta sculpt these guys right here. So yeah, that goes back. I have several B5 paintings that are actually signed by the actors. I have one by Mira Furlan, one by Peter Jurasik. Sadly, none by Andreas Katsoulis, which is a bummer. I also, actually, you can check out the blog. You look at the 2D art section, you'll see all of the sci-fi paintings that I did. So Al Capone, back in the day when we were still doing 2D art and the sci-fi conventions, I used to paint portraits of, well, the characters, because portrait painting was my training in art school. And one of the things that was, for whatever reason, I could do, it was get likenesses. So I just, that was what I did. I would actually take the a DVD, not a DVD, the VHS, yes, that's how long ago it was, and I would pause pictures from the different episodes, and then I would try and come up with some kind of paintings from those. Now let's finish the rest of our little pattern here. You can see it's nice and easy, right? Look at that. Nice and easy. Doing fun little details in oils here. They're thinner than water. It's the same reason why you can do those pin line washes, panel line washes, all that kind of fun stuff. Hey, we have Works of End. How are you doing? Yeah, that's yeah. Oh, let's get some dark. Gee whiz. Oh, speaking of pin line washes, let's do that. Let's do that here. We've got our glaze brush that's just sitting around there doing a whole lot of nothing. We're gonna take some of our burnt umber. We'll get this going nice and juicy.
So say we all.
Oh, Bilbo's brush is given. Oh, to Aussie. Thank you so much, Bilbo's. That is a and folks, be sure to give Bilbo a follow because, well, he was kind enough to raid us earlier and then brave enough to stay and face the insanity, the lunacy, the heresy, which is Wappleville. Okay, I think we're now ready. So we're going to let that just settle in. Let's do some of the same highlights we did over here. We're going to do them on this side. Oh, look, we have some handy-dandy highlighting code just sitting right over here. Just happens to be sitting right there. We'll start out with
Hello, little hobbits. Spark my ganja.
Lord Cakes, thank you so much for the follow. Of course, now I want cake. Like a lot. Like I really, well, actually, I think I'm just hungry, period. But somehow, cake has risen to the top of the desired food list right now. So we're taking our brand new Cotman here. We're taking this out for a bit of a spin. Look at the difference that already starts to make. It does have that nice sort of either wave or cloud or whatever this is supposed to be action. And I'm glad we just did the flowers on this. I think that was a good idea. As much as I would have liked to have done this pattern on the purple too, I think it was a good idea just to do this. And we can always make this lighter. But as we get into shadow here, we are not going to continue doing this too much. Either that or we're just going to make it darker like this. It's going to be darker. It's going to be more grayed down. There we are. Wow, we got some decent darks into this scabbard here. Oh my goodness, for this to be this light, there's some serious darks on this scabbard. Which always makes me glad to know that I've achieved darkness. Darkness achieved. Let's see, does that pattern have a specific name? I don't know. I'm sure there is, actually. We might be able to Google this kind of a wave pattern here, and I'm assuming that it's wave as opposed to the cloud. Now, of course, what's the name of this one? And Drax knows, but maybe Drax can remind me again what the heck this thing is called, because Drax knows the name of everything, and I forget the name of everything. So that's a perfect combination. I forget all the names. Drax knows all the names. Let's see. It's been too warm for the cookie baking, unfortunately. Well, actually, we could have maybe. Unfortunately, the baking time that was available was done. We did Sculpey instead. So I could maybe have baked some cookies, but yeah, we did the Sculpey baking instead. As soon as it stopped being 90 whatever degrees here, I just said, boom, I'm gonna bake Sculpey. So look at that, see what goes travels into get dark, less of the highlights here as we go in there, just like we did over here. So that's pretty fun. That's working for me. Where was I over here? I think I was right over here. Cake is always high on the depth chart. Yes, indeed. Sword of the Dawn. See, Drax knows all the names. I forget the names. Well, actually, I never really know the names in the first place, unfortunately. Just ask Creaturecaster how fun it is when I rename all of their. Oh, I've renamed several of their demons just because I have no idea what the heck they call it, and I just give them my own names, and they're like, "What? What are you talking about?" Ah, that's what I do. That's just what I do. Now, I will get a couple of lighter shots of this just over here. That's it. That's all. All right, so we've got ourselves a nice little pattern going on this. We'll leave those alone. What are we going to do up here on her forehead? Because I'm just seeing a lot of... I'm seeing too many solid colors. I also see too much of a blue there, so we're going to kill that. Got to do something on the forehead right here and where her eye is too. Let's just throw out a little bit more of our titanium white, shall we? Wherever the heck that went. So again, that piece of pewter, wherever my pewter stuff went, just some little piece of sprue in there as an agitator. You can hear that bouncing around in there. That's more like it. Let's take a just tiny little touch of our Terra Rosa over here. We'll mix that with our white. See what we can do to give her some more light on her face. Sagea. Oh, thanks, Bilbo's brush. Well, I'm gonna have to try and remember that. Actually, if somebody can do me a favor and either send me a whisper or something like that with the name of that, because when I do the description of this, it would kind of be nice to actually be able to include that. That's it. Yep. Alright, what are we going to do here? I think I'm going to let this blend with all of that crimson that we threw in here. Oh, Drex, you won't be doing a late night show tonight, will you? If you are, just let us know. And let's see, did you finish all the Blood Angel bikes? Because you were on that last one, the last time I saw you, so you must be done with those. And then I know you startled Jan with your. Would you finish that chaplain off in an hour, or was it 40 minutes? I know it was a truncated period of time. Let's get a touch of our light over here. Oh, let's do something on this nostril here. This is one of the reasons why I want to sculpt those different busts, is because I really like working on stuff that's larger like this. Not necessarily always the giant, well, Caracola bust size or Caracolila bust size, but something like this. It's just a nice little change. Something a little bit bigger than a miniature-sized face. All right, that orange is going to go away because I'm really thinking that no fire light is going to be hitting that. But we're looking for some of our lights to hit out here. So 50-ish. Okay. We got our titanium white here. Let us do a couple of highlights along here. Then we gotta get some darks onto this. So here's a couple, like, that just represents, I don't know, something off camera. Here, let's do another little line right there. And then let's do something that's maybe darker. We'll take this is our brown matter right here. I really do love this color. It's another one of those utility colors. There. So now it looks like there's something reflecting in here instead of it just like, oh, well, okay, it's just a bare chunk of something. Here's another instance where we need to take this and blend that out. It's getting a little bit too much of a chunk of, this little chunk of color. We don't want a color chunk. You want a color that's actually doing something. I need a couple of highlights on this here. This pattern, we might have to play around with that some more too. I'm actually throwing some lights here on this rope because I'm going to go back in here with a bit of a glaze again. Bit of a glaze. I think we'll use the same that we just used over on the other ropes on the back here. So see, now that, look at that. That's almost dry back there. Well, it looks dry. It ain't dry. It just looks that way. And we got this all lined up nice and easy. We just place that. That's it. That was one touch. Did the same over here. And that's it. No more. No more messing around. So back here, we'll get some of our off-white yellow. We'll go mix that with our lovely burnt umber over here. Get a nifty little, somewhat lighter brown. Let's do something on these ropes here. Trying to get something that maybe looks a little bit different than all the surrounding golds and everything else. We don't want these to be highlighted the way the golds are for sure. We'll let that go into shadow. Oh, wait a minute. What was that? What was that Galadriel said? I no longer sense it. He has passed into shadow. I no longer sense his presence. Now, let's go the other way here with some dark, and we'll be more targeted with it. Not so much the glaze. It's almost like we're painting in a bit of a line. But we do want shapes, not lines. Let's get some darks here. We did that, what was that, the brown matter over here. That was just such a great little addition. What's happening here? We got some mold line funkiness going on over there that we had to work our way around. So this, we got some, like a weird little highlight over here. We got nothing going on in the middle here. Nothing to really indicate that's metal. Let's see what we can do to resolve some of that. Typically, it's bump up some contrast, and I think, that's it. I think that's going to help. Let's place that paint, and we're going to push that paint. We've got our new titanium white out here. Let's bring this right down here, and boom, there. Another one here. And perhaps maybe we even bring out some of our Sagia pattern, Sagia pattern. I think I want to get right along the edge of this here, because again, it's that chain of highlights. We're trying to carry that all the way down the whole distance of this thing here. I swear I gotta make one of those thumb palettes. Crazy as it sounds, I mean, it sounds weird, but dang if that couldn't be useful. You know what? let another light work it to right up. There we go. Sometimes you just need multiple little light source things. So I think, yeah, that turquoise has been a nice little foil to our lighting. Now, we haven't messed with this in a long time. Geez, we've kind of barely even touched our fluorescent yellow over there. Or, yeah, fluorescent orange. Here, let's get a little bit of our cadmium, faux cadmium yellow back out there again. Let's see what we can do to make this nice and bright. So there's our real. Now that's the real deal. That cadmium over there, that's the real McCoy. Now we got these little flowers over here. Just for fun. To almost make it like maybe that pattern is sewn in there. What if we were to give it a little bit of an indication here? Like literally that the flower pattern has some raised stitching or something like that, and the light is actually hitting that and highlighting it. I don't know. If I don't like it, it can always just go away. Now on her gauntlet slash bracer, we need to get some lighting pronto right in this area. This ain't going to be easy because we have all these little, oh, what would you call these things? These little spikes right here. There's a ton of these suckers to deal with. And I may have to go thicker. Like I said, if it doesn't stick, it's got to go one way or the other. You either have to make it thicker or you got to make it thinner. Oh, let's see. Pigeon has to take off. I want to hop in and see what you're up to. Oh, thanks, Pigeon, and have a good night's sleep. And thanks for joining us for as long as you can. Yeah, well, what we were thinking was one of those stupid little candy rings, right? And literally just take a piece of cardboard and some parchment paper and just glue the darn thing to my thumb. Well, not to my thumb, but to the ring. And that I still, just for the reaction alone, that could be really worth it. Just for the reaction. That's it, Calvadia. That's what we're talking about, is the ring pop palette. Well, I'm gonna have to, I think, go on Amazon and get some ring pops or something like that, because, well, we just ain't got any of those in the store around here. So I will have to find a couple of those on Amazon. I'm sure they're out there. Now, I'll probably need to get a little bit of teal back in there. I'm just looking, okay, what is going to get hit? This is a little, yes, am I pushing where that orange light would hit? Sure, I am. I am going to smooth this out, though. I mean, it should probably be in shadow, but, you know, it is what it is. Let's see what happened. Oh, and you get a treat, yes. Definitely best to eat the ring pop prior to covering it with the oil paint, but I would not be. Oh, geez, when's the last time I actually had one of those darn things? I can't even remember. All right, this is gonna be our goal. Let's take some of this green here. Some of this green. Let's throw it onto this side. And there we go. Reflected light. Yes, it's not just reflected light. It's also got a different color to it. It's got a little bit of that green. So now our orange stands out that much more. Yes, that's what we were missing. I knew something was going on. Here we had tons of stuff. We just didn't have... We had no reflected light going on there. How remiss I was there. So let's get our couple lighter tones here. Once again, a chain of highlights here. Still haven't determined what this should be. We'll just make it this color. Just go with that, see what happens. How much lighter should we go here with this? How much light is too much light? Another little chain of light, like it's reflecting something that's out here in the ether somewhere. Oh gee, we somehow gotta get some light on the end of these. Are gonna be some kind of sharp blade things. We probably want to get some kind of a light on the end of those. I think that's a little better now. Completely spaced on those. I think that's better. Now here's something we haven't messed with in quite some time. I think we're pretty well set over here. Do we want to get some more dark over here? I'm going to grab some of this purple just for fun because we got some of it here. Now we've got, see how it goes from dark to faded here? I'm going to try and go the opposite way over here. This is just one of those things you see a lot, and I do suggest on Instagram, look up armor cosplayers. These guys are wearing real armor, like the real thing. They're out in the woods, they're in an environment doing stuff, and when you see what is reflecting off of them, if it doesn't stick, change how thick. Now that could be an easy, that one's very phrase-worthy. That one's very, that could go on a, well, yeah, maybe not a t-shirt. That could draw some unwanted attention, but it is Book of Wappo worthy. Ooh, let's get some of this purple here. Yeah, I'm liking this. Let's go a little lighter. Look at this. We have our golds have blue, green. Oh, look at one touch of yellow. Everything, there's like one touch of yellow. Oh, look, we have orange here too. So our golds have yellow in just one area. That's it. Because reflections, that's it. Got to have those reflected colors. Look at that. Yet another little fun thing to make this metal turn. What's happening here? I think we need to go, crazy as it sounds. Got some of this darker color right in there. Let's go after the edge of this. And I'm thinking that is just what, yes, look at that. Look at how we reverse these. So it was light here, dark here. We just reversed that. Now, where's Mr. Titanium White Pile over here? Take some of that. And the plan is, or the objective is, to get a couple of lights there and one more there. When you do these little beads of light, you're going to have a better chance of it looking like metal, because what I used to do back in the day was practically paint it like it's cloth. You know, a highlight, one continuous long highlight, which sadly when you do that, it's not going to look like metal anymore. It will look like maybe some nice cardboard that has been cut into the shape of something that's metal, but it's not going to look like metal. And we're going to extend that green a little more there. Oh, yay! Thumb palette, accident. Boom. There we go. So, we always like to see, well, how do we fix things? Well, it's pretty darn easy with the oils. Here, let's get our dark color again. And away. I mean, the pattern's already set there for us. I mean, is this really all that hard? I mean, was that really so heartbreaking? Nah, not really. All better. Speaking of, I'm glad I've got these darks over here because we are going to take our brown matter. We're going to mix it with this ivory black. We are going to make a nice dark reddish brown. And we've been messing around with a lot of lights and middle tones here. What have we not been doing? We haven't added any super serious darks over here. That's what we're going to do now. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what we're missing. Get that right out, and here too. My goodness, a whole bunch of places here that did need more light. They actually needed more dark. And I think that helps. I think that definitely helps. I guess too, it's, is it really, would it be metal here? Is it more of that lacquer? That lacquered wood sort of a deal? Darken up some of these folds here too. Let's see, works event, and do you varnish over the pigment powders before painting on top of them? You could do a spray varnish over the top. Now, inevitably, you will quite literally blow away some of your effects. It will happen. That was one of the reasons why I started using the pigment fixer instead of just the rubbing alcohol. Well, also I couldn't get rubbing alcohol. I could get pigment fixer. I couldn't get freaking rubbing alcohol. So that was another reason why, if you're wondering. But I would suggest, yeah, giving that some kind of a spray beforehand might be a good idea. Alright, we've got our faux cadmium yellow medium here. Once again, this got nothing going on. Now I gotta go back, I gotta get some more paint here because there's still wet paint underneath this. There's a whole nother set of forms over here we want to get. Can you see that? It looks like you can. Whole set of forms there. That's going to be our purple color here. Why? Because, I don't know, it's sitting right next to purple. It's supposed to be reflective. How the heck is it not reflecting all that purple that's sitting right next to it? So let's have it make sense. Let's reflect that purple. Now, film noir time. Works of Ant wants to see the film noir. Boom. There we go. So what we have just done is we have taken away the color. And all of a sudden now you don't see orange. You don't see blues. Scabbard. You don't see any of the orange that's here. You don't see any of the blue that's there. With this, you don't see any of the green that's over here, the orange that's over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with some more greens on this side. You can see it on the palette here. So this is a cadmium green light. And what we're going to do is you can see how, okay, you can see it's lighter there. Right, you can see it's lighter, but you can't really tell that that's, I mean, it's essentially a very bright green. I'm going to do that over here now. But over here, we're going to do that with a little bit of the same purple over here. Now let's restore our color. Bring that back. See how close we can get. That's as close as we can get. But you can see, so that one very much a bright green, and this one more of a purple here. Now we do want to blend this a bit. That's better. We can even blend this too. Oh, and this one, that's another one of those green dots that we just placed. So, why the film noir? Now, I'm going to have to set this down here. And we're going to grab this, and we are going to turn off our color now. Boom. So I painted this almost 40. It was a painting video for the Patreon page. This is for the Dark Sword Pledge level. And all of this was painted basically black and white until about 45, 47 minutes in. And we did this. And you can see now, again, there's greens, purples, yellows. The blue, what do you see now? All you look at is this blue. It's the same kind of an idea. Now, let's see. I've been on a roll with the oil. Oh, hey, Goroth, how are you doing? It's been a little while. Yeah, we've done... I've been loving the oil, so I finished my... Where's my... Here we go. Is this the right one? Yes. So that was my latest painting series. All of that in oils, non-metallic metal, object source lighting. Oh, it doesn't get much easier than doing all that stuff with oils. So every single one of these painted in oils. The freehand painted in oils. All that kind of stuff. And here's another one again. The freehand in that book. The object source lighting all done with the oils. Now, do we want to... Let's see, there's something here. It's neat that we have these little dots here, but there's just not much organization to those. They all look too separate. We have to unify these somehow, some way. And we're going to do that via a wee bit of blending here. That's more like it. Yeah, let's see, do I have that one sitting around here? Well, basically what you're looking at is a tiny version of this. So this was a base for a penitent engine that we did. And it's literally that whole book is about the size of her face, maybe. And we were painting that on the, on the book. Now, where's my other... Here, let's go back to the sisters, because somewhere... Oh, yeah, it's on one of the vehicles here. Let's see, is it on... Oh, yeah, see, it's on that one base. Well, it's also on that window. So see that cathedral there, that main rose window? That same base is actually right there in the center of that rose window. That was, that was my last 40K tournament army. We made the Aegeus defense wall and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, all of those windows, those are 39 stained glass windows that were part of that project. You know, I mean, when you got to do stained glass windows, you got to do stained glass windows. This needs to be, if it's not going to be brighter, it just needs to be managed a bit better. We need to do something on the top of this. And I'm gonna go dark before I start adding more lights. And I'm guessing that's gonna be a good choice. Yes, it is. I'm even gonna add some more dark to this. So let's add some more darks just in general here. This is our brown matter. I always keep wanting to call it brown matter alizarin because that's what the watercolor was called. If you want to have light, you got to have dark. So we put that down. We'll use this blending brush here. Nice and soft. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see how that all of a sudden... There, let's get the shiny away. We'll do the same over here. Maybe we've got to start adding some more darks to things. See, that kind of looks, it has more warmth to it there, a little bit more of a projected light up this way, so not over there. Still have to figure out what we want to do with this. Do we have flowers on this? Do we do anything on this? Oh, maybe Where's that? Where's that other one? Let's do this. Maybe we try this cloud texture on there. Let's try that and see if that works. Oh, oh look at this. How are you doing, Mataaka? So, oh, and Goroth has to take off. Thanks for joining us, Goroth. Let's see. OSL candles make him look even more gothic. And Roy has to go take care of the kitties. Thanks for joining, Roy. It's appreciated. It is way more fun not just doing this here by myself. So how you doing, DeMarino? I'm looking for this going in here. We'll start out lighter with this, and then maybe we need to go the other way. But let's see what happens here. If I don't like it, I just brush it away and it's gone, and that's the end of it. But we'll start. That's just about light enough. Maybe we'll take a little bit of it off the brush. And I don't mind. Let's get some clouds here. If we can't, and I don't mind if it sort of fades out a little bit. Oh, thanks, D8. It's appreciated. You know me. If there's any way to squeeze freehand on something, I'm going to do it, because freehand is just so much darn fun. And we'll just do a couple little cloud type things here, and we can also go back in later with a blending brush and sort of tone this down if we want to. And you can see that I'm focusing on areas that are not in any sort of a fold or anything like that. All right. Toning this down again. I just went in a couple of places. As it goes down into that crevice there, I don't mind if it gets faded away. And we'll have the clouds kind of emerge from over here now. There. Let's do some cloud things on the bottom part of this. I've been channeling in lately. All is gravy. I tell you, this I've been really enjoying the oils, working on stuff that's larger, stuff that's smaller, being able to make all the adjustments and everything. I know, I'm trying to think the last time I actually had a chance to use acrylic paints. It's been a while. Do we want to get some blue in here? Oh, this is what, gee whiz. Okay. Back to our Terra Rosa, I think. That's got a little bit of the brown matter in it. Yeah, this right here, it needs a little something like that, and that just can't be a solid chunk of lighter color there. Can't be that. See, just like what we got over here. We got to do something similar up here. It's almost like we just did a glaze, but again, there's no watermarks there. See that? Look what we just added there. That created a whole bunch more stuff going on right there. It just took a couple seconds, couple brush strokes. That's all. Come on. Let's see. Sky's clear. How are you doing? The bubblegum pink lady, acrylics or oils? Yeah. Now did you see the YouTube video on that? Those were just they were Reaper colors that must have come back with us from ReaperCon, and they just kind of were forgotten about. And some of them I kind of remember, but there was a couple of them I don't remember using this before. it was kind of wild using those. So instead of the usual clear and liner paints, it's not like I'll never use acrylics again or anything like that. It's just so many people are trying out the oils, and it's hopefully been helpful for people to see me trying all these different things with the oils. Now this is another area. See those couple of dots there? Look at this. Now that makes our green over here show up that much more. Again, it's sort of giving that an overall impression of maybe some kind of a moonlight coming this way, and then our firelight from down here. Still thinking, what do I really want to have happen over the top of those eyes? Now, I do sort of like the idea of that shadow being there. There's literally kind of a shadow that kind of got cast accidentally there, literally because I couldn't really get the paintbrush into that to mess around with it at all. So I'll take that. We have a reflected light here. Do we want something? Maybe. We'll put something that's a little bit like skin tone. Right in that area. It's look a little bit on the brownish side. Let's not have it be quite so brown. That'll be interesting trying to reach, but let's do it anyway. You know what? Look at that. See that little touch of orange right there? I mean, that's just minimal, but yeah. I like that touch of orange there. I'm gonna try some more. Right, there we go. So I'm thinking if the orange is coming this way and it just maybe gets that one little spot there, maybe. I'm looking for some underlight here. How's about some orange that way? We have a little bit of orange up there. None over here. What's happening with this? I'm going to see if I can't smooth some things out here. Back to my teal again. Here, let's thin this down. Boy, we haven't messed with this since practically the opening moments of painting this thing. That's a little better. Oh, Sarge says, how are you doing? Let's see, the sky's clear, and that's my Blick order arrives Monday with a combination of intimidation and excitement. Well, you know, it is, it can be both at the same time, and there's nothing wrong with that. Ooh, oh wow, let's do a bit of blending over here. I'll take this one. Why don't we just pop these over here? We're waiting for those to sort of settle up a bit, and they're settled for that. Now here's another, this is fun. This is a new thing that I haven't had a chance to try yet. That's interference blue. Now we have ourselves another one of those Caracolila busts. Yes, Blackheart was kind enough to send another one here. Now, I know you can't really see that on camera, but there's all kinds of like purple. Look at that shifting in there. Look at that. There's some wild stuff going on in this tube. So I thought something like the Caracolila bust might be a fun thing for trying some of our interference blue. Just need to get a little drink of something here. I'm thinking of getting in some more. Like up here. Okay, so those lines, as I look at them now, they're just kind of, they're not super fabulous right there. So let's see if we can't make those maybe a little bit more fabulous than they are right now. there's literally just some choppy lines here. We don't want lines, we want to have shapes. So we're going to take these, push that paint around, and maybe take some of our darker purple in here. That's that Egyptian violet. Yeah. I mean, it's really, this should be almost kind of a shadow area up here when I think about it, because the light's coming this way, light's going this way. This doesn't need to be terribly light over here. We could use some sort of a middle tone in there. Maybe in the shape of a green. Let's see. It's kind of like a turquoise. Oh, hey, it's a turquoise green. Ah, that's exactly what we were hoping for. I might even take a touch of this pale yellow, mix it with that green. It's a little less, shall we say, liquid, not quite so diluted. I also, yeah, let's get a touch lighter over here. So we're going to bring more of this yellow in here. And we don't necessarily need to think about it like an acrylic thing where we're layering up. We can just put a big old blob of light there and then just push that around. We can do that. It's like we're doing here. So I'm just going to take some of my thumb palette here. We're just going to wipe some of that away just in case. Just in case. Here, let's do a little bit of our blending here. Because we can. We also are going to get a dark on this side of it. There's our brown matter. We just need to sharpen that thing up. That was looking a little bit, a little smushy, that particular detail. We don't want smushy details. We want the sharp details. Speaking of sharp, this is not looking terribly sharp. It needs a dark. Here, that fire glow is going to cast a shadow there. We need a shadow, and that, by virtue of that, gives us our nice little sharp line. We're going to push this over here. We're also going to fade this, so it's just like an insinuation of that pattern being sort of lit by the firelight. Now down in here, just for the heck of it, we'll get some random bits of middle tone. It's practically a dry brush under there. I mean, it's not like people are really going to be able to see much of what's happening. Let's get ourselves just something that's darker under there. We'll take our Payne's gray, touch of our umber here again, keeping it nice and dry. We just can't have this big old blob of light showing up here. I was just kind of waiting for the super glue to dry, and I think now it's dry. I'll have to, I'm thinking that's the other reason if Drax is probably off doing his stream. But I was thinking of a painted backdrop for this. I mean, heck, oils, it could be very fun. So that's why I wasn't going to use that little symbol or that little dish they've got behind there. Nah, I'd much rather have some more fun with my own design there. Now we are going to take some advantage of our darker, drier color in the brush here and darken some of these ends. I mean, we've done our little pin line washes and stuff to make that darker. Let's see. Ectogon, it's not necessarily metallic. Think of it more opalescent. Well, I guess if you're thinking in what we see in miniature paint now, think of a, oh, what's that stuff? color shift. That's the word I'm looking for. So think of it more like a color shift paint. That's sort of what your interference colors are. I'd only ever seen those in acrylic, and then I just happened to see those in oils, and I thought, well, I'll get one. Maybe it's okay, maybe it's garbage, because just because something has a big old price tag on it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be useful. As I've already found out, I have already discovered that just because that paint might have a big old price tag on it, it doesn't mean that it can serve a useful function. There are other paints that cost a fraction of that amount and they are vastly more useful. As far as colors, I mean, not like necessarily brands of paint. Alright, we'll just let that be right there. That's all in shadow anyways. Let's see, is that a top coat? Which one were you asking about there? I think that was one of those where it had to be timed just right in the chat. So you just ask me again. That would be fine. Let's see, how do you like the Williamsburg versus the Gamlin? So far, the only perceptible difference that I've seen is, well, these two guys here versus the student grade or the Winton grade, because what's in this tube cost 4 times. Here, let's get this. So, yeah. Come on. This little tube costs 4 times what this one does. And this is noticeably better than this, which it should be, being 4 times as much. Otherwise, are these that much better than, say, the Winsor Newton standard oil paints like this? I don't really think so. I don't think so. They're more expensive, yes, but I have not noticed a perceptible difference. Maybe if I was doing, say, full-scale oil paintings, maybe I'd also notice a difference. But I really haven't noticed much of a difference, at least on the miniature side of things. I'm just getting those mostly to see, is there really a difference? And so far, the only difference I've really seen is in the student type stuff, which, I mean, well, anything probably could take some kind of supremacy over the student grade stuff. Oh, the interference blue. We don't know yet. We'll find out. Now, the other thing I'm wondering is, can it be used like a metallic medium? Can it be mixed with other colors? Those are the things that I'm just going to have to find out by using it. Because if you remember the Necron project that I want to do, where I take the MIG ammo oil brushers, and I try to mix that with regular oil paints to do a true metallic metals. Does the interference blue, could it be used in that? So it might have to be something that goes on top. Is it something I can mix paint with? I have no idea. And unfortunately, the only way I can know is to just give that a try. Now, that Kara Kalila bust would be a really neat first try for it, but I might also try it on some Zinchi type stuff. This also needs some light here. And I basically can do one swipe at it, then I just gotta leave it, and that's it. Oh, let me see, but a different from student. So from artist line to artist line, I'm sure there would be, if I was maybe doing, like I said, a full-sized oil painting or something, maybe that would make a difference. but I just am not seeing a perceptible difference from, like, say, the Winsor Newton to maybe even a U-Track. I don't know. The Gamlin, it's basically just another line of paint as far as I'm concerned. I'm not going to say that is it worth spending 2 to 3 times as much for, say, a Williamsburg paint versus, like a Winsor Newton. No, no, because I'm sure just, well, the regular, where's my regular cadmium? So this, I mean, this is the real deal. This is real cadmium. This is just fine right here. Heck, I mean, this ain't cheap. This was 20-something bucks. So do I really need to spend 30-something bucks? To me, I don't think it would make that much of a difference. Let's see, I bottled some Schminke. Oh, in Old Holland. You know what might make the difference? Ecto and Al and such. The longevity of it. So maybe 3 years from now, those colors in the tube are just are a little bit nicer. Maybe they don't solidify quite so much. Now, not that Winsor Newtons would do that. At least not the full, the regular artist colors. All right, we have some dark up here. Is there enough transition here? I'm targeting this area here for a little bit more of something. And maybe that's going to be this green. Let's see if it's something we wanted to actually have there. Yeah. It's not making it that much lighter, but it is smoother, and there's more going on. So this became darker because this became lighter. I'll double down on that just a touch. That's good. Oh, here's another area. Here's another area that needs, it either needs dark or it needs light or something. So if this is going to be light here, that's got to be dark. Well, then we've got to have light over there. Maybe we'll add even a bit more dark here. In the form of maybe some indigo. Wow, some of this stuff is dry. There's some dry stuff on the palette, and we're 5 hours in. Yep, some dark here. What about on the other flip side of this? Yeah, some dark there. Make that sharper. Oh, a nice little touch. That was a touch of the indigo right there. A little touch of the indigo. So on the eyes here, we got a lot of dark lining around that. I'm not sure I want that to just kind of stay there. Going back over here to some Terra Rosa. My target is right along here. Yeah, that can't be quite so dark. I might even go a little bit lighter with that. Right here on the underside of this lower eyelid here, didn't make quite so much sense for that to be as black as the upper lid, or at least as dark as the upper lid. Maybe we'll even get a touch of lighter color on her lower lip here. Cheekbone again. As much as I'd like to do something here, well, you have this hair over here that's kind of casting a shadow onto that. going to get this into this magenta over here. Well, really more of a crimson. It's really more of an alizarin crimson. And my goal is to lighten that up. Yeah. As neat as it was to have that dark there, I don't know, things were getting lost. I also care about the Optilong matte thinner and even some of the actual oils themselves. Now, some colors are just like you said, they're more glossy. Your ultramarines are going to be more glossy. Sometimes your cadmiums can be more glossy. Cobalt, it's a glossy one. That can be a glossy one too. The Optilungs are just unfortunately always glossy, and that was the biggest disappointment. Was the Optilungs? I was really not super thrilled with those. I'll still give them another shot. I'll give those another try. Now, of course, I'm going to have to use that matte thinner, whatever that stuff is, with them. Not really looking forward to that. Let's getting some lighter stuff on her lower lip here. That seems to be helpful. That's starting now. Her eyes starting to, yeah, the eyes just weren't kind of coming out enough. For as much stuff as going on here, we really want the eyes to be, well, the focal point, and they weren't necessarily doing that. So we've got our magenta over here. I do like the fact that we've got some greens in the skin tone here. We've got our magentas going over here. I might even lighten up that tendon just a touch, and I know we got all of this darker color back here. I don't necessarily want to lose the kind of turquoise reflected light on her face, but I think it just needed a little bit of that. And this should be lighter too, maybe. Where is Mr. Blending Brush? Scumble this away. Oh, let's get some reflected light here. Some kind of whatever. There's just a little bit of a dead zone right in here. Maybe not quite that light. That's all it took. And oh, we gotta do the same thing on the other side here. Same thing over here. Good to go. Ooh, gee whiz. How did I forget this? Man. So we go in here. Right there. And this, I don't know. We got to do something one way or the other. Either this has to be lighter, or that's got to be darker. And I'm going to fudge it, and I'm going to go this way. I'm glad I did that. Because I'm thinking if that's a shadow there, maybe literally my reflected light is a better light source than just like an overhead light source. If that makes any sense. Yeah, Al Capone, those, oh, the thinner with the regular oils, well, here's another thing too is, when you mix something like the Terra Rosa, or, where's my indigo, or this, the Egyptian violet, or even something like a yellow ochre, or burnt out, where's my brown, or this. So these are colors that are naturally not shiny. When you mix those with things that might be a little more shiny, guess what? Those by themselves kind of help kill that shininess. So maybe that's helpful to think about. Oh, thanks, Herbert Wolf. It's, I know I get really obsessive about the golds with all the crazy different colors in them and stuff. And I'm not sure why I do plenty of, there are other types of metals too, but there's something about, I guess because the golds are just, they're so reflective because of just naturally being so sparkle oriented. What can we do here? No. Maybe lighten up. Boy, we haven't really messed around with our fingers much here. I love doing all kinds of non-metallic stuff. Something about the golds, not sure why. At some point, maybe I'll figure out why. I guess because, well, I can do crazy things like this. Reflecting greens and, like, there's literally just yellow in this one portion of this whole freaking thing. And it just makes sense to do that with golds. It's a little less with your other types of metals, I suppose. Look, there's blue here. Oh, so much fun. You know what? Speaking of reflected light, we shall do that here. Yep. Let's do that over here. Now, when I hit the Necrons and such, I will try and do a couple different versions. Some in TMM, some in non-metallic. So there's not going to be a whole unified army of them. I want to just try and do as many different things as I can with what's in that Indomitus box. I mean, it's not like I can't get some more Necrons and maybe take a scheme that is maybe a favorite or something that people really want to see. Oh, that's might be an idea. That might be a plan, actually. So get more of that reflected light here. If it's going to be gold, it's got to be shiny. It's got to reflect. Heck, it's got to reflect the reflections. Now here is something we put down there and just kind of left for a while. Now I'm thinking the shadow here, so let's just pull this along and then let it fade. That's a little bit. It just kind of ended pretty darn abruptly there. We didn't need that. We do need this to fill out this area here. Shadows there, not shadow here. Ooh, actually, yes, a shadow. Never mind. Ignore me. I just turned it over and went, oh yeah, so this is sort of in shadow. However, we'll do that. Let's see. That's a good point too. The oxides are pretty matte by nature. Yes, they are. Making a remark that the golds can be so much more than just the gold color. There's plenty of Necron dynasties to choose from. Well, actually, the other thing would be fun is to... I've got... I could swear I have some... Now, they're old. They're eBay rescues, but... Oh, what the heck were the floating pyramids there? The obelisk things. That sort of... That's the source of the... Well, I don't know. I'm not even sure they really use those anymore. I think that is an old dead kit at this point. The monoliths... Maybe they're still around. I still have some of those monolith kit. That could be interesting to do in oils. I'm just saying. Yeah, I think I've got one that's in okay shape and then another one that's maybe in less okay shape. But those could certainly be fun for oils and freehand and other such mischief. So the new one's not out yet. Okay. Which, hey, then we could mess around with the old ones and figure out something that we like and try it on one of the new ones. As we add, ooh, just that little touch right in here. So let's get this. Blend that. And the same thing this way. So we got that little bit of light that crept its way in there. Another situation, just like we did over here. Remember we had to make that choice? Oh, waiting for a lot of the Necron vehicles to get rid. Let's say, oh, no more. Oh, it's the. Geez, they would get rid of the crescents already, or the croissant. They would get rid of those already. Well, I mean, to me, they're new, but they're actually not really new at all. They're pretty much ancient, I guess. Well, they're old at this point. I keep thinking, well, wait a second. I do remember when those. I'll never forget that first Adepticon when it looked like a bakery. And there was just like 9 of those in every army or something crazy like that. Yeah. What would be fun is to actually, geez, I don't even know if they still make. What were the old Imperial Guard flyers? Gosh, it's been so long, I don't remember what they're called. Ah, the flying baguettes. Were they? I'm already forgetting what the IG ones were, but those could be fun to do in some kind of military, some kind of camo of some type. Maybe doing with the oils. Look, we're just getting. See here, this is kind of an open area. We need more. Oh, let's get a little bit of our teal going in here. Look at this right over here. See this section? Bam. Yes. With the metals, you can't just have one giant area that's just kind of one color or even one level of lighting. You really do have to just keep constantly changing the level of lighting on those. Like this. See what we've got there? Yeah, we've got that turquoise working its way down. Wow, we actually got some purple in here. I can see some of the phthalo in there. Speaking of which, we're going to hit that with our brush just a little bit. These guys, I'm going to fade those a little bit. A little bit of a scumbling action here. We're not brushing those so much as just kind of giving them that little tap, 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 scumbling those away. It's more of a suggestion of a pattern as opposed to beat you in the face with the pattern. Let's see, now you get the flying baguettes. Speaking of darks, see that? Indigo to the rescue. I was wondering what was going on here. Couldn't figure it out. Yeah, look at how devoid of dark that was. Gee whiz. I think I ended up wiping out all of the darks that were there. I kept adding lighter stuff to it. Lighter stuff. Killed all the dark. Don't want to do that. So we're bringing it back. We'll do some of that down here. Yeah. Again, what's it reflect? It could be reflecting some of this. There could be something like out here. When you check out those armor cosplay guys, you'll see the guy taking the picture reflected in their armor. That's no joke. Well, it's definitely no joke because as a person who years ago, his job was to photo retouch the photographer out of the picture of the car. That's yeah, you definitely will have any number of crazy things reflecting onto that armor. Now this, let's get some pinkish skin color here. Something to make it stand out from everything else in that area. We haven't really... Fire glow this. You know what? I think we can actually sort of fade out some of this fire glow here. I don't know if there would be all that much of it there. Maybe not all that much of it, and we certainly need to get some kind of reflected light back in here. Let's grab that ochre. Just hit some over here. We don't want so much of the purple over there. We have a little bit of light here. Ecto has a Harlequin army in the pile of shame. Oh, doing the what was that? The yield checkerboard. No, well, diamond / checkerboard pattern. Well, think about it this way. If it doesn't come out well, it's real easy to get rid of. Well, and the other thing too, now think of it this way. Think about it this way. Paint the pattern on there first. And well, it may dry anyway because you may not get back to it in time. Let it dry. And then do some oil glazes over the top of it to shade it. Because remember, the oil glazes, they ain't going to give you watermarks. So think about it that way. Just, heck, you could almost paint it sort of flat. Maybe not as much shading. But you saw how, like here, how we're able to just kind of fade that pattern in it like we did over here with these things. That's the advantage of doing the freehand with the oils that just the acrylic stuff doesn't let you do. Now this up here, you know what, that's got to be, well, speaking of glazy, here, let's take some of this here, crimson, a little touch of our fanchon red. That's nice and dark. And what we're going to do, I'm going to do just a bit of a tone down, a little bit of a glaze over the top. But look at that. Look at that. So we didn't wipe it out. It's still there, just a little more on the reddish side of things. Same over here. Maybe not there. Where'd my little bit of a crimson glaze go? We've got sort of a crisscross pattern here with our some kind of a wrapping around this, around the handle. Top side of this, I would like just, oh gosh, maybe something like this. Maybe a touch of our burnt umber here. I'll make our little finger tripod. Because these lights here, yes, they can be light because, and it could be the same amount of brightness as this, but because it's such a toned down color as opposed to all that saturated orange, it's not gonna get overpowered. We won't wipe out our lights down here, or our effect, I guess. What's happening here? Perhaps we will grab a wee bit of this and expand that. Yeah, that looks better. Being expanded just a touch. This not so thrilled with, so we'll push that back. Again, we've got an area here that there has to be an edge of some kind there. I don't know, does it really need to be all that light, but we need some kind of edge here. It's fuzzy. There's nothing happening there. We don't want things where there's nothing happening. That's the sash. Well, let's get a little bit of our, I don't know, some of this cerulean / sky blue color. Maybe not that light. Maybe more like this. And I think my guess is it has to be thicker to stick right here. I'm thinking if it's this color, look at that. One brush stroke, bam. That's all it took. This was just looking so much the same. It's like, why the heck is that gold? Yeah, let's not have that be gold anymore. Let's have it be blue, and then our golds are gonna stand out that much more.